You're listening to the Love Your Neighbor podcast.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us on the Love Your Neighbor podcast. We're here today, Brandon Valley Area Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for sponsoring us and making this available. The community of Brandon needs you, and as we are building community one conversation at a time, we're thankful to the Chamber for making this possible and believing in this conversation, this podcast. And today, we're joined by a very special guest, Brandon resident, and just an awesome guy, Marcel Thoma. Marcel, welcome to the Love Your Neighbor podcast.
Well, thank you for having me, John.
It's awesome to have you here. We're twinning today. We found out we must shop at the same place.
We do, except that I shop in Belleville, Wisconsin.
Okay.
Which is the outlet store for Duluth clothing. So
yeah, talk to us a little bit about, now you live in Brandon, but tell us a little bit about your Wisconsin connections and your Wisconsin story.
Okay, well, the Wisconsin story, I was born in Wisconsin, grew up on a farm, which most people have. So, went to school, small school, and went to college in Waukesha. And then I went to graduate school in Arizona, which really started, I guess, kind of a love affair with the Plains states, because I'm not much of a flyer. So I drove many times across the country, and each time I would pick a different route just to check it out. So I've driven Highway 2, across North Dakota. I've driven... I think I was trying to think.
That's beautiful country. I bet in all your travels, gorgeous. That's probably your favorite, Highway 2.
Yeah. Well, I remember the view coming out of Glacier and seeing Havre, Montana. Out, it's gorgeous. I really love that. So I always liked the Plains states. The people were always friendly. A funny little anecdote, I guess, and I don't remember where it was, but I always just threw a sleeping bag out on the ground beside my car, and slept. Probably wouldn't do that anymore. I'm too old to sleep on the ground. But I pulled into the back of a cemetery, and because I figured, what place is quieter than that? Well, about 11 o'clock, the cop comes in. And he says, well, I'm going to lock the gates. So, if you want to be out in the morning, this probably isn't the place. But so he says, just follow me to town, which was like a mile away, and you can sleep in the park. I said, to me, that is just an amazing thing. And so that's where my love of the Plains came in. So over the years... kind of life happens, and I, got married, and we had a family, had jobs, and we were in Wisconsin, and I still always had this kind of dream. And
so you went from Waukesha. So was that UW Waukesha?
It was Carroll College.
Carroll College. Okay, so then graduate school. That's fascinating to me. You went to Arizona for graduate school. What was your degree in?
Arizona State.
Arizona State.
Geography.
Geography. Great.
So it kind of fit in with the whole driving thing and across the country. Yep.
Yeah. It's not. I grew up in North Dakota, so I think I can envision that conversation happening.
Yeah.
Especially it was probably in the summer, I'm guessing.
It was. Yes. Yeah.
Sure. But that's great. So geography was your degree. Tell us, so what did you went back to Wisconsin. What did you do with that degree? How did you utilize that?
Well, I did, I worked as a zoning administrator in Crawford County, which is Prairie du Chien, Wisconsin, so southwest Wisconsin. Didn't like that, so did some other jobs. I built silos for a while, Rochester Silo Company, which I think they built a few of them in South Dakota until that industry went bust, basically. And at that point, then I had a family, got married, had a family, and then I became a stay-at-home dad.
You became a stay-at-home dad. That was my career goal. When I married my wife, I said, "Here's the deal: you work, I'll stay at home with the kids."
And did you do it?
I did it for 3 months, and then I got fired.
Oh no!
I couldn't.
No, I did it for it would probably be 13 years.
Oh wow! Fascinating.
Best thing ever. I recommend it to anybody, but I guess you have to like it. Yeah. And
I liked it. I just wasn't very good at it.
Oh,
my wife, she was like, we want our kids to survive past the age of 2, and I just wasn't as attentive, I guess, as I needed to be. So.
I don't know. One of my kids asked me about the terrible twos, and I said, well, either you guys didn't have terrible twos, or I ignored them. And I don't know which it is. So, and then when they got into school, someone along the way, I had gotten a bus driver license. I had driven some school bus off in Hannon. Word got out in Oregon that I had experience, and then I got hired and spent 20 years driving preschool through 4th graders to school, and that was fun.
I bet. Yeah, you probably made an impact on a lot of students, I would guess.
Well, I hope so. Certainly, they had an impact on me.
I bet.
So, and I did that until, and you maybe know how it goes. Every summer, I was always excited to get back into it, get the new list of students, and that last summer, it was probably 2019, I just didn't feel that anymore. And I was 70. So I said, no, I'm done. And of course, they wouldn't let me go. I had to substitute for for the fall, but eventually that happened. And then COVID hit and things locked down, and I told somebody. So by that time I was divorced and living in an apartment, and retired, and then everything kind of stopped. So I'd been doing some volunteering at the senior center in Oregon, and they closed. So I thought I can either sit in my apartment or I can sit in my car. And I took off and did a bunch of trips out. I was down as far as Texas and the Black Hills, and just looking for a new place.
So you went on you went on kind of a nationwide search.
I did.
For a place to call home.
Well, yep. I wouldn't say nationwide, but I knew it was somewhere in the plains. North Dakota, sorry, but I felt that was a little too far north. But I checked them out, and there were things, specifically that I was looking for. Particularly, I looked for walkable places to live. And Brandon is that to me, especially where I live, downtown, if you can call it a downtown, down around Sunshine Foods. But so I live there, and you have everything is right there. I wouldn't have to go anywhere if I didn't want to. So.
That's great. I got to meet you. We were at a coffee with the council, which happens once a month down at Kingbird, and that's where I first met you. You were there at the coffee with the council, and you've gotten involved. I mean, if that's a fair way to say it, in the community, not just walking, but you're also involved in.
Well, yes, and that's one of the things I guess I love about Brandon, because. It's interesting that the first thing, I think after I dropped my U-Haul off, I should back up a little bit. I picked up a rental book on one of my trips from the Black Hills, And that's how I got in touch with my apartment manager. And I called. I said, well, I want to look at the apartment. So she gave me the code and said, well, apartment 2 is open. Just go in and look at it. I thought, well, that's kind of neat. They're not worried about me. And saw a couple of the residents there at the time. So that was really, it was cool. And then after I moved in, dropped off my U-Haul, and I stopped at the chamber office and met Rachel. And she is an amazing person. I think, I can't say too much about her. She is just so involved and so inviting, just welcoming person. So that was, it's like, wow, I made a good choice. And then all of the events that they put on, that's just amazing. The coffee with the council, I love it. I wish more people would come. I learned a lot going there, asking council members, because I didn't know anything about Brandon. I don't know where your water comes from. I don't know how the streets work, and learned about parks and lots of things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I think, you've set an example there. You mentioned that the things going on with the chamber, you got plugged in through the chamber. What are some of the things that you'd say you love about Brandon? And if somebody was thinking about moving here or has just moved here, what are some of your favorite things about the Brandon besides the walking and those things?
Initially, I had 4 kids going through schools, and I believe that a great school district is probably one of the most important factors in a community. A lot of people believe that, but you have to have a really good school, and Brandon has an amazing school district as far as I'm concerned. And so I have tried. I love to go to the events, athletic events, but even more the fine arts is just amazing. The music and the drama. It was a little bit of a fight to get into them that first year when there were vouchers and you weren't supposed to go, but there were always extra vouchers, so I was able to get in, and then you meet some people and we know you, yeah, come on in. You can come to this play or this concert, and I've never ceases to amaze me how great the kids are, and that's probably one of the biggest things. I even met a waitress at the steakhouse who moved from Huron because she wanted her kids in a better school. Mm-hmm. Thought, wow, that is awesome. I love that.
Yeah, the fine arts, I think, for coming from where you came from, I think that's one of those things that has that, capacity to involve the entire community. Not everybody, there's not room for everybody to play on a basketball team. There's five spots, and and there's obviously, but our speech our competitive speech, marching band,
yes,
drama this weekend. The 1-act play out in Rapid City. There's so many things that happen in our school district, and you've taken advantage of being a part of that. And
I took advantage of it. That was actually one of the first things I did when I arrived. Was I went to the high school and asked them for a schedule.
Oh, sure.
So, and the second thing, I went to the district office and got a senior pass.
Sure.
So we're, I'm kind of set there.
From being from a parent and knowing lots of teachers and athletes and students in the district, thank you for supporting that, and thank you for just kind of making this your own. Your own. That's cool.
Yeah.
What do you talked a little bit about loving your enjoy of exercise and walking. What do you do in the winter months when where do you go walk? Do you still walk outside, or how do you get around when it's colder outside?
I still walk. I purchased a Kuhn skin cap this fall in anticipation of a really cold winter. But no, I have good I have clothes. There's a saying that there is no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing. So that doesn't bother me so much. So I do still get my walking. And I suppose I could put in a plug. I go to Circuit Fitness, which is half a block from my place. And
it's a short walk.
It's a very short walk. You can't get in your car for that distance.
Well, that's great.
And they've got a great little yoga program there, and which is a part. It's a great part again of the community. And
Talk to us a little bit about Active Generations. I know that's in Sioux Falls, but we want to one of the things that we want to do through the Links podcast is we want to help expand our opportunities for folks that are looking to have a wellness mindset and a wellness lifestyle. Maybe not everybody shares there's no such thing as bad weather. I mean, I appreciate that. I come with some of my own insulation, so that's good. But being there's some people that really that's really an impediment. Talk about Active Generations and what opportunities are in Brandon, or what that looks like for you in Sioux Falls.
Okay, well, first I should say Brandon does have a senior center, which in the VFW building, which meets once a week on Thursday afternoons, which is a nice social gathering, but obviously it's very limited. And a couple of people there got me, kind of spurred me to go to Active Generations. Okay. Got started with their Tuesday evening dances. They do country dances every Tuesday with live band, which is quite nice. It's a very, very good thing. And then went from there. I signed up, became a member, and now I've found I really enjoy the line dance classes. But they have so much going on there. It's just there's something for everybody, and I've heard they've had thousands of members. So.
That's interesting. That's one of the things that, through the building community, one conversation at a time. I think it sounds like you got some invitations and some referrals to get involved there. But that's really what we want to do as we move forward and we grow as a community. We want to really capture that. And one of the ways that we do that, obviously, is by being good neighbors and being good neighbors. What would you say? You were talking about the town of Oregon, Wisconsin, which is where you moved from. Some similarities between Oregon, Wisconsin, and Brandon, South Dakota. What's community to you, Marcel? How do you define it? Or if you had to explain it to somebody, a young person, what does community mean?
Well, I guess for me personally, community is the interactions with other people and the opportunities to do that, which... Brandon has certainly offers that in spades. There's everything going on, from the coffee with the council, and almost year long, mostly in the summer. There's always something going on. Some group is, maybe they're fundraising, but we've got I'm thinking the Legion baseball. I'm not a baseball person, but that's part of community.
Yeah.
The school brought in, say they did the dance cheer state tournament, which involves so many people, so much work, and that's part of the community thing. My apartment building has, we have little gatherings, potlucks and things, the pancake breakfasts, all that stuff, the food trucks that come in, and I've gone to some of those events. You've lots of people coming around. I'm obviously leaving things out, but it's there is so much.
Well, I appreciate you being a part of this conversation today, and thanks for sharing your life with us, and thank you for choosing Brandon. I mean, literally, there are a lot of places you could have gone. You know the geography, but to land here, I'm grateful to have spent some time with you and gotten to know you. Thank you for being part of this community and part of this conversation. I look forward to having more conversations with you.
Well, we'll see you around.
Yeah, maybe we can talk a little more Wisconsin.
Sure.
I love talking Wisconsin and geography. So thank you, Marcel. Appreciate you.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks, John.
Thank you for joining us on the Love Your Neighbor podcast. The purpose of the Love Your Neighbor podcast is to build community one conversation at a time. You can help us build that community by sharing the podcast on your social media channels and rating our podcast on whatever platform you're listening from. Another way is to let us know of any neighbors who have a story. Go Leaks!